I never thought revenge would taste like Chanel No. 5 and the metallic tang of stolen power. But here I was, slipping into Elena's skin like a ghost haunting her own life. My ex-husband's new wife had buried me alive in a federal pen for crimes she committed. But tonight, at the black tie gala where she'd banned me forever, I'd risen from the grave she dug. And the valet's deferential bow, murmuring, "Madam Chairman," as he handed over the keys to her Bentley, was the first crack in her perfect empire, because I wasn't just crashing the party, I was rewriting the guest list with her blood on my hands, metaphorically speaking. Of course. It started with a betrayal so deep it hollowed me out, left me echoing in the shell of the woman I'd been. 3 years ago, I was Sage Harlan, CFO of Harlan Dynamics, a mid-tier defense contractor in D.C. That punched way above its weight in lobbying dollars and backroom deals. My husband, Victor Harlan, was the Golden Boy CEO, charming as hell, with that Ivy League drawl and a smile that could disarm a Senate hearing. We were the power couple, or so I thought, until I found the emails. Not just affair emails, mind you. These were blueprints for fraud, siphoning funds from black budget projects, funneling them into offshore accounts to bankroll Victor's senatorial run. And Elena Voss? She wasn't just his mistress, she was the architect. A sharp-elbowed lawyer from a firm that specialized in creative compliance for the military-industrial complex. I confronted him in our Georgetown brownstone, the one we'd bought with my bonus after closing the Qatar deal. "This ends now, Vic," I said, shoving the printouts across the kitchen island. He didn't even blink, just laughed. That low, patronizing chuckle he saved for interns who asked too many questions. "Sage, honey, you're in over your head. You think you can blow the whistle on us?" By morning, the FBI was at my door, cuffs glinting under the porch light. Elena had twisted the books, made it look like I'd been the one skimming forged signatures on my letterhead, timestamps from my IP. Victor testified against me, his face a mask of regret on the stand. She changed after the promotion. Greed does that to people. The jury ate it up. 10 years in Alderson, the camp cupcake for white-collar witches like me. But it wasn't cupcakes, it was isolation. The slow rot of knowing your husband's tongue was the knife that slit your throat. Prison strips you bare, but it also sharpens you. I spent my days in the law library, piecing together the puzzle Elena had buried under layers of legalese. Turns out, she wasn't just sleeping her way to the top, she had dirt on half the board. Leverage from Victor's indiscretions that predated me. And the kicker? The funds they'd stolen weren't just for his campaign, they were hush money for a botched drone strike cover-up. One that left civilian contractors dead in Yemen. I was the fall guy, the convenient ex-wife with the finance degree. But Alderson had its own secrets. Whispers of a pilot program run by the Bureau of Prisons and some shadowy DARPA offshoot. Neural Transference Initiative, they called it consciousness upload tech. Originally for terminally ill vets, but repurposed for rehabilitative immersion. Swap your mind into a sim. Relive your crimes from the victim's POV. Emerge reformed. Volunteers got early release. I signed up, not for redemption, but for the glitch. The procedure was in a sterile wing, fluorescent hum, and the beep of monitors like a bad sci-fi flick. They strapped me in, for drip cold in my vein, and the anesthesiologist droned about synaptic mapping. Last thing I remembered was Elena's face flashing on the prep screen, some stock photo from her LinkedIn. All power suits and predatory smiles. "Focus on your betrayer," the shrink said. "Visualize the swap, then blackout." When I woke, It wasn't the scratchy cot in my cell. Silk sheets. Ocean view from a Malibu cliffside. And in the mirror? Elena's face staring back, hazel eyes. That razor bob haircut. Lips I'd seen curled in court sketches. Holy shit. The glitch. Not a sim, a full transference. My mind in her body. And from the frantic Google on her phone, biometrics bypassed by the neural link. Hers was flailing somewhere in the ether. Probably trapped in my fading echo back at Alderson. Panic hit first. Then euphoria. I was her, Elena Voss Harlan. Now Elena Harlan. Victor's trophy wife and the new CFO after my disappearance from the org chart.
No.
Wait, better. Victor had pushed her up to chairman of the board last quarter. A merger of visions, the press release gushed. Power. Unfettered. I rifled through her closet, the walk-in bigger than my old office, pulling on a tailored blouse that screamed boardroom dominance. Her phone buzzed. Victor. Darling. Gala tonight. Don't be late, senators inbound. The annual Harlan Dynamics fundraiser. The one where deals were sealed over caviar and single malt. The one where, in her last email to security, she'd blacklisted me. Sage Harlan persona non grata. Trespassers will be prosecuted.
Oh.
The irony. I was trespassing in her skin. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a slow bleed. First, I needed intel. Elena's laptop was a goldmine, passwords autofilled. Files unlocked by facial rec that now answered to me. There it was, the Yemen ledger. Encrypted but crackable with her own decryption key. And Victor's campaign slush fund. Bloated to bursting. But deeper. The secrets she hoarded like grenades. Photos of Victor with interns. Not just flirty, coerced. Timestamps matching HR complaints she'd buried. Audio of board calls where she'd greenlit unsafe prototypes. Dooming test pilots to fiery ends. And me, a subfolder labeled collateral, Sage. Memos plotting my frame-up, down to the forged emails she'd scripted in a coffee shop near the courthouse. The betrayal burned hotter than the California's sun baking through the floor-to-ceiling windows. She'd whispered in my ear at the sentencing. You were always too soft for this game.
Sage.
Enjoy the view from the bottom. Now I had the penthouse view. And she'd get the bars. I spent the afternoon in her home office. A glass-walled area overlooking the Pacific. Mapping my moves. Call it controversial. But I didn't hesitate on the first one, a quiet wire transfer. Rerouting a chunk of Victor's pet project funds to a whistleblower NGO I'd researched in the pen. $5 million. Untraceable through her Cayman accounts. Let the IRS dogs loose. Then, an anonymous tip to the Post, sourced to a concerned insider, dropping hints about the drone cover-up. By evening, her makeup was flawless, contour hiding the faint neural scar at my temple. The gala was at the Beverly Wilshire. Red carpet for the elite, where Hollywood schmoozed with Hill staffers over the latest in autonomous killbots. Victor would be there, arm candy empty, expecting Elena to dazzle. I'd give him a show. The drive-up rodeo was surreal, her Tesla humming like a predator. Valet in crisp livery. Eyes down. Evening. Madam Chairman.
Keys.
I nodded. Voice modulator in my throat, another glitch perk. Elena's husky timbre, mine to command, pitching just right. Park it close. I might need a quick exit.
Inside.
The ballroom swallowed me. Crystal clinks. Jazz quartet weaving through laughter that sounded scripted. Heads turned. Elena. Over here. A senator's wife air-kissed me, reeking of Botox and bourbon. I played the part, Elena's laugh a practice trill. But inside, Sage seethed. There, across the room, Victor, silver fox in a Tom Ford tux, holding court with a cluster of suits. No Elena on his arm yet, me. Incoming. I wove through. Champagne flew to prop, dropping Elena's signature barbs. Darling, that tie, did it come with the ethics waiver? Laughter rippled, but my eyes locked on him. Up close, the lines around his mouth deeper, the charm frayed. There you are, he said, pulling me into a half-hug that lingered too possessive. Thought you'd bailed for yoga or whatever. I smiled Elena's smile. All teeth. Wouldn't miss it.
Vic.
Big night for Harlan Dynamics. His hand on my waist, her waist, sent revulsion crawling up my spine. This man, who'd sworn vows in Napa Vineyards, now pawing the woman who'd stolen his first wife's life. But the real hook sank when Elena's phone vibrated in my clutch, a text from an unknown. Alderson glitch confirmed. Subject S. Harlan conscious. Abort? My blood iced. They knew. The initiative team, monitoring the transfer. If her mind was waking in my body, rotting in that cell.
No.
I pocketed it, resolve hardening. Dinner was served, filet mignon bleeding on porcelain, and Victor's speech droned on about innovation in uncertain times. I clapped with the crowd, but under the table, my foot, her Louboutin, ground into the carpet, imagining his neck. Post-dinner. The real game. Schmoozing the mark. Elena's Rolodex was my arsenal. I cornered the SEC liaison, a weaselly type with a bow tie, and fed him just enough Yemen rope to hang himself later. Off record. Harold. But whispers of irregularities. You hear anything? He blinked. Flattered. Elena. Always ahead of the curve. By dessert. Victor pulled me aside. Breath Scotch sweet. You're on fire tonight. What's the secret? I leaned in, lips brushing his ear. Elena's lips. My words. Just remembering who owes me. He chuckled. Oblivious. But the seed was planted. As the quartet struck up a waltz, he led me to the floor, bodies close in the swirl of silk and cologne. Missed this, he murmured. I wanted to vomit, but instead, I whispered back. You have no idea what you've missed. The dance ended. He excused himself for a call. I followed at a distance, heels silent on marble, to a side lounge where velvet curtains muffled the noise. There, Victor on his phone. Voice low. Yeah. The frame held. Sage is buried, literally. If the initiative works.
Pause.
Elena?
She's solid.
Loyal. My fist clenched. Nails, her manicured claws digging crescents into palm. Loyal. The word twisted like a knife. I slipped away before he turned, heart hammering. Upstairs, in a powder room that smelled of orchids, I stared at Elena's reflection. How long could I sustain this? The neural link flickered sometimes, headaches blooming like storm clouds, echoes of her memories bleeding in, her own betrayed childhood, clawing up from nothing, justifying the rot as survival. Sympathy? Hell no. She'd chosen the blade. Back in the fray, the night's tension coiled tighter. A tipsy exec cornered me, Elena, about a merger, but my mind raced ahead. The anonymous tip I planted? It hit, phones buzzing, a murmur rippling. Breaking. Harlan Dynamics under DOJ probe for fraud. Victor's face paled across the room, glass slipping from his hand. Shards glittered like fallen stars. He scanned, eyes landing on me, her, with accusation. I met his gaze, raising my flute in mock toast. The band played on, but the air thickened, guests whispering, alliances shifting like sand. This was the controversial pivot, not just exposing him, but letting the machine grind slow. No vigilante blaze, a calculated unraveling. Decisions that'd make headlines, Chairman Harlan implicated in cover-up, and force the reader to pick sides. Was I justice or just as venomous? As midnight told, Victor cornered me by the bar, grip bruising my arm. What the fuck? Elena? You leak. His eyes searched mine, finding something off. The glitch. Maybe. Or Sage's fire in her frame. Tell me you didn't. I wrenched free, voice steady. Would I do that to us?
Vic. Lies. Sweet as petit fours.
But the seed doubt sprouted. He stormed off, dialing crisis PR. I exhaled, alone in the crowd, the weight of her body my vessel settling. Revenge tasted sweet, but it lingered, acidic. And in the quiet, a whisper, her voice, faint in my skull. You think you're free? We're the same now. I shook it off. Not yet. The night was young, and the fall just beginning. The morning after the gala dawned brutal, sunlight spearing through Elena's Malibu blinds like an interrogation lamp. I groaned, her voice a sultry rasp, and rolled over. Victor's side of the bed empty. Sheets cool. His cologne hung in the air, a ghost of the man who'd abandoned ship by dawn, no doubt hunkered in some damage control war room. Her phone was a battlefield, 47 unread messages, voicemails stacking like indictments. Elena, call me now, from Victor. Board emergency meeting, 10 a.m., from the COO. And buried deeper, that unknown number, transfer unstable. Recommend reversal. Subject S. Reports anomalies. Anomalies. Understatement of the year. My head throbbed, neural pathways fraying at the edges, flashes of Alderson's gray walls bleeding into ocean views. How long before the swap unraveled, spitting me back into chains while she claimed the crown? Coffee first, espresso machine hissing like a cornered snake, and then the laptop. The post-splash, Harlan Dynamics rocked by fraud allegations, Chairman Voss Harlan in hot seat. My photo, no. Hers graced the byline. Power pose from last week's Forbes. Quotes from anonymous sources I'd cultivated in the pen, fed through proxies. The Yemen dead, named at last. Contractors' families getting their due. Controversial? Damn right. The right-wing blogs were already howling deep state sabotage, painting Victor's probe as a liberal witch hunt. But the left? They smelled blood, calling for hearings. I was stirring the pot, forcing America to argue over its war machine's underbelly, profitable toys, or taxpayer treason. Elena would have loved the chaos. Now it was my noose for her. Shower scalding, steam fogging the glass where my body gleamed, all yoga-toned and unscarred. Prison had etched lines on Sage's face. Laugh lines turned bitter. Elena's was porcelain, unearned. I traced the neural port scar, hidden under concealer. A tiny starburst reminder this wasn't forever. Dressed in her armor, Chanel skirt suit, heels that clicked authority, I drove the Tesla east, toward the private jet at Van Nuys. Destination, D.C. Victor's lair. Harlan Dynamics HQ in Crystal City. a fortress of glass and steel hugging the Pentagon's shadow. The board meeting was my stage. I'd walk in as Elena, the chairman, and drop the hammer. Flight was turbulence-free. 2 hours of champagne and cloud gazing. But inside, storm raged. Memories collided, Sage's wedding vows clashing with Elena's first kill, not literal. But the merger she'd torpedoed, bankrupting a rival and orphaning their R&D team. Was I absorbing her? Or just the venom? Touchdown at Dulles. Black SUV, whisking me to the office. Receptionist beaming. MS. Harlan. The team's waiting. Elevator up. Stomach dropping 42 floors to the executive suite. Victor was there, pacing like a caged wolf. Tie askew. The board, 7 gray suits. 2 women with pearl necklaces like nooses sat stone-faced around the obsidian table. Elena, he barked.
Sit.
We need to circle the wagons. I did, claiming the head. Elena's throne. Wagons?
Beak.
This is a stampede. Murmurs. I leaned forward, channeling her ice. The leak came from inside. Yemen files. Campaign slush. Someone's got access. Eyes darted. Victor's narrowed on me. You saying it's one of us? I'm saying we audit everyone. Starting with the chairman's discretionary.
Gasps.
Controversial decision numero dos. Self-incriminate. I pulled up the ledger on the projector. Her files. My cursor, highlighting the offshore siphons. See here? 5 mil to Voss Holdings. That's me. Gentlemen. But who authorized the initial transfer? Victor's face drained. That was a joint decision.
Lie.
The memos proved it. His signature, her execution. The room erupted, accusations flying like shrapnel. One boarder, old money with a yacht club drawl, slammed his fist. This could tank us. Stocks down 12% pre-market. I let it boil, then cut through, or it cleans house. We come forward. Controlled disclosure. Plea to lesser charges. Immunity for the rest. Victor lunged. Voice venom. You're folding? After all we've built. Our eyes locked. Husband and wife. But Sage seeing Victor's soul stripped. What we've built on.
Vic. Lies.
Bodies. The board voted 5-3 for my plan. Press conference at noon. Full transparency. Victor stormed out. Door slamming like a guillotine. Victory. But Pyrrhic. As the suits filed away, my phone buzzed. The unknown. Reversal window closing. Elena conscious in host. Violent episode reported at Alderson.
Shit.
Her in my body. Rampaging? Guards probably tossing me into submission. The link pulsed. Pain lancing my temple, her rage. Raw and animal. I popped a neural stabilizer from her med kit. Black market nootropics for high-stakes nights. Noon loomed. The presser in the lobby. Cameras hungry. I stood at the podium. Elena's poise masking Sage's tremor. Harlan Dynamics regrets to announce an internal investigation into irregularities. I read from the script I'd ghosted. Flashes popped. Reporters baying. MS. Harlan, your role. As chairman, I take full responsibility. Reforms incoming. Off mic. To Victor hovering stage left. Your cue to confess. Darling. He paled, but nodded, cornered. The fallout was swift. Stocks dipped, then stabilized on proactive leadership spin. Victor's campaign imploded by evening. Donors fleeing like rats. We retreated to the Georgetown house, our old haunt. Now there's him brooding over bourbon. Me sipping tea in the kitchen where it had all shattered. Why? Elena, he slurred, eyes red-rimmed. We were unstoppable. I set down the cup. Decision 3. The gut punch. Because unstoppable built on my back.
Vic.
Or did you forget Sage? He froze. Glass midway. What the hell? The glitch flickered. Her memories surged. Nights plotting my downfall. Whispering to him.
She's weak.
We'll be legends. But twisted now. Sage's truth overlaying. You framed her.
Us.
For what? Power? A Senate seat. He laughed. Bitter. You knew the play. We both did. Denial cracked. Sage was collateral. She found out too late. Too late? I'd found out in time to burn. I stood. Voice dropping. Collateral dies screaming.
Vic.
And I'm done carrying. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist, Elena's slender bone. You're not her. Something's wrong with you. Bingo. The link spasmed, her echo screaming in my skull. Give it back.
Thief.
I wrenched free, storming upstairs. In the master bath. Mirror mocking. I dialed the unknown, initiative handler. Voice tinny. Reversal now. But not to her body, to mine. Clean. Risky. If Elena was feral in Sage's shell. Night fell heavy.
DC.
Humidity pressing like guilt. Victor knocked. Soft. Elena?
Talk to me.
I cracked the door. Face composed. Go to bed.
Vic.
Tomorrow we end it. He did. Snoring soon after. I waited. Pulse syncing with the clock. 2 a.m. Reversal window. The procedure was remote. Neural rig in her closet. Humming to life on command. Straps auto-tightened. Visor descending. Initiating. The handler whispered via earpiece. Pain bloomed. White hot. Minds tearing like Velcro. Flashes. Elena's ascent. Boardroom conquests. My prison nights. Vowing vengeance. Then snap. Darkness. I woke gasping. Not in silk, but cotton scrubs. Fluorescent buzz overhead. Alderson Infirmary. My body, Sage's. Scarred and sturdy, ached, but whole. Guards hovered. Confused. Harlan? You okay? Elena's echo gone. Link severed. But wait. The handler's voice. Post-reversal. Clean swap. Target's consciousness dissipated. Unstable host. Dissipated? She'd burned out. Her mind too fractured for dual occupancy.
Free.
But the real twist brewed back east. By dawn, news broke. Victor's suicide in the Potomac. Note blaming the machine we built. Staged, the Post speculated. And Elena? Found catatonic in the brownstone. Mumbling about thieves in the wires. Committed to a private clinic. Her empire ash. The board ousted her remnants. I. Sage Harlan. Paroled early on rehabilitative success. Walked free by noon. Reporters swarmed the gates. MS. Harlan. Thoughts on the Harlan scandal. I smiled. First real one in years. Karma's a glitch.
Boys.
Keeps things interesting. But as I boarded the bus to nowhere, freedom tasting like bus exhaust and possibility, the debate lingered. Had I murdered her? Technically? Erased a mind for my own? Victor's death. My whispers in his ear as Elena. Planting despair? Controversial as hell. America argued. Vigilante justice or cold execution? Forums lit up.
Podcasts dissected. Me?
I headed west, toward a quiet life. Maybe consulting for watchdogs. Revenge complete. But the mirror still lied sometimes. Hazel eyes flickering in mine. Who was I now, Sage? Or the ghost of Elena Voss? Months blurred into a haze of reinvention. The kind where you wake up not knowing if the scars are yours or borrowed. I landed in Austin, Texas grit over California gloss, a freelance auditor gig with a nonprofit sniffing out corporate rot. Sage Harlan. 2.0, jeans and boots. No more power heels. Hair loose instead of bobbed. The neural port? Faded to a whisper. Surgery in some off-grid clinic erasing the last trace. But nightmares clung, Elena's laugh echoing in empty rooms. Victor's eyes pleading from the river's edge. Freedom's price was solitude. The endless replay of what I'd wrought. And America? Still chewing the bone I tossed them. The scandal had metastasized. Harlan Dynamics carved up by vultures. Assets auctioned. The Yemen Widows class action suit a landmark. Forcing D.C. to squirm under Klieg lights. Elena, strapped down in that Virginia loony bin, became a tabloid phantom. Trophy wife's tech terror. Mind swap madness? Conspiracy nuts on ex-spun yarns about DARPA wet dreams. Black budget body snatchers. I avoided the feeds. But curiosity's a bitch. Late nights. I'd scroll incognito. Heart skipping at my own name trending. Sage Harlan. Saint or sociopath. Polls split 48 to 52. Readers raging in comments. She got what she deserved. Framed bitch takes it back. Versus murder by proxy. Lock her up again. Debatable ending?
Check.
I'd flipped the script, but left the audience arguing the credits. Yet the twist, the real gut twist, hit like a subpoena on a sunny Tuesday. 6 months post-release. Coffee shop on 6th Street. Laptop open to routine due diligence. Email pinged. Anonymous sender. Subject, the real collateral. Attachment, a scan. Yellowed memo from 2018. Harlan Dynamics letterhead. My signature, undeniable flourish, authorizing the first Yemen skim.
Below. Elena Zadandum, Barcela.
Harlan directive. Proceed. Heart slammed.
No.
I'd been clean. Victor's the snake. Elena the fangs. But the timestamp? Pre-affair. When we were still us. Digging deeper. Chain buried in archived servers I'd hacked via VPN. More memos. My handwriting forged? No. Biometric scan confirmed. The truth reversed. I'd greenlit the fraud. Early days. Drunk on ambition. Victor's whispers turning me. Elena? She discovered it. Not orchestrated. Her frame-up? Self-preservation. Blowing my whistle before I blew theirs. Nausea roiled. Coffee turning to acid. Flashback. That Qatar deal closing. Bonus check cashed. Victor's arm around me at the afterparty. We're building an empire.
Sage.
A little creative accounting. Harmless. I'd nodded. Signed off. Buried the guilt under spreadsheets. Elena entered later. The fixer. But I'd been the spark. Her betrayal? Mirrored mine. In the swap. Her memories I dismissed as venom, childhood poverty. Clawing corporate ladders, now reframed. Desperation to expose me without imploding the firm. Victor? The puppet master. Playing us both. His suicide note? I'd planted the despair as Elena, but unknowingly avenged my own ghost. I slammed the laptop. World tilting. Controversial? This was Apocalypse, me, the original sinner. Revenge, a hall of mirrors reflecting my sins back tenfold. The nonprofit gig? I quit that day.
Check and signed.
Drove aimless through hill country. Radio droning country anthems about lost highways and bad choices. Pull over at a diner. Pie untouched. Staring at the payphone like it held absolution. Call the DOJ? Confess. Take the fall anew? Or vanish? Let Elena's shell rot with the knowledge. America none the wiser? Decisions cascaded. Each uglier. Expose the initiative. Torch DARPA's lab, but that'd martyr Victor's legacy. Orphan the widow's justice. Dusk bled orange over scrubland. Coyotes yipping judgment. Phone buzzed. Burner-eyed kept for ghosts. Unknown. You think it's over? We own the glitch. The handler? Or Elena? Somehow clawing back. Static. Then click. Paranoia spiked. I smashed the phone. Shards glittering like gala glass. Back on the road. Austin lights smearing. Resolve cracked but mending crooked. The happy ending? Bullshit. I'd reclaimed my skin. But the monster inside was mine all along. Victor's death. Elena's void, my hands, stained original sin. Yet in the dark. A sliver. Redemption's not erasure. But reckoning. I'd write the book. Anonymous. Spill the memos. Let readers duke it out.
Saint or sociopath? Both.
Human. Years later. Holed up in a Santa Fe Adobe, Sage Harlan. Author of Glitch, a memoir of corporate shadows. The debates raged on podcasts. Book clubs fracturing over wine. She redeemed herself.
Nah.
Enabler to the end. Elena faded to footnote. Catatonic but breathing. Victor's plaque in Arlington, a hypocrisy tourist snapped. Me? I gardened. Grew chiles that burned going down. A reminder flavor comes fierce. The swap taught me. Power's illusion. Revenge a loop. Betrayal's deepest cut? Your own reflection. Smiling back complicit. And on quiet nights, when the wind howls off the sangres, I wonder if the glitch reversed again. Whose mind would win? But that's the twist's curse. Eternal argument. No verdict. America loves a fight. I gave him one hell of a round.